So I'm Sukh Pabial. I'm the head of OD at One Housing. It's a housing association based over in London. I've been in the learning profession now for about 13 odd years. And I'm very active within the social space, and I have a very good professional network of learning development practitioners from right across the sphere. So there's a lot of new things that are coming around in terms of how are people just consuming content, just generally. And obviously technology is a big driver in what that is. And we now need to just become really mindful about the fact that learning doesn't just happen in the classroom. And we've been banging on that drum for a while, but there's still a lot of practitioners out there just not listening. Heads in the sand, very happy to just carry on. I'm happy delivering my workshops, thank you very much, I don't need to do anything more. Where there's, on a daily basis, people are searching Google and YouTube for things like, how do I braid my daughter's hair? How do I cook this omelette? How do I fix this light bulb? And it's those simple things which people are doing for themselves, which they can easily do at work, because they just need to look for things like, how do I create a pivot table in Excel? How do I create this presentation to look good? And things like that, where they're going off and searching for this content themselves. So how do we, as L&D managers, help them get there quicker? So if that information and content is already out there, and it is, how do we help them get that content so they can do it just like that? They don't have to go and search for it, they can just get access to it because it's there and it's available. The other thing that I think we really, really need to be conscious of is how do we make the content relevant as well? So a lot of the things that people want to know how to do is around their day job. It doesn't tend to be around things like leadership or feedback or assertiveness. Those things are important and people need to know how to do them. But that tends to be an adjunct of other stuff. The stuff that people tend to need to know how to do on a day-to-day basis tends to be around things like, I need to do my day job better. What does that look like? How do I do that better? I want to progress in the company. How can I progress in the company? How do I know what that looks like if there's no path set out before me? I want to expand my professional expertise. I don't know what to do about that. I don't know where to even begin. And you start to look at those questions and you go, that's just a whole other set of stuff that we never considered in L&D was part of our remit, but it completely is. Because somebody needs to own it, and it kind of makes sense that it's us. Around the second set, around the kind of day-to-day stuff, there's a lot of current thinking which is around performance consultancy. So it's how do we help people perform in their job without making it complicated for them. So we don't need things like competency frameworks, or we don't need things like pathways laid out for people. We just need people to be able to have good conversations about their performance. Are you performing well in your job? Yes or no? If you are, fine. What are you doing that's really good? How do you make that better? What more do you need to learn to improve? If you're not, why? What's happening? Are you missing out on stuff? Are you not getting information access? Do you need to do things better? Loads of different conversations that can come out from that. And where that starts to just go towards is, what do you need to do? How can we help you to get there? And either the manager does that, the line manager, or the L&D manager needs to support that conversation. Previously, it was always the L&D manager just taking that order and saying, oh, you need to know how to do this? I can do that for you. That role is changing now, so we do part that, but partly we also need to be able to go in and go, so Mr. Line Manager, what are you doing to support your team member to develop themselves in the way that they need, the way that makes sense to them? I'll help provide you the resources if you can give me the content that they need. And that's a whole other mix. And it's not an easy journey. It's something which I'm trying to implement now, currently. It takes time. And it takes time because you have to educate the business, you have to educate the managers about what that means. It's a completely different way of operating for them. And it's a different way of operating for you as a manager as well.